Hello, my name is Paul Roos from Hartley Outdoor Education Center here in St. Charles, Michigan.
Big Chief Number 8 Coal Mine Presentation. Coal is a non-renewable fossil fuel, which means it will never be made again, and it was actually formed by plants over 300 million years ago.
Here you can see a huge slab of coal, and actually you can probably even see the layers. Coal is formed by having plants fall into swamps and just get layered upon layer upon layer of plants on top of each other, and then eventually getting pressurized for many, many years, and then eventually it turns into this hard rocky material called coal. Now, right here, I'm wearing actually a coal miner's hat and a carbide lamp. A carbide lamp was actually the coal miner's light down in the coal mines and in the coal rooms. They're pretty neat. This is actually some actual calcium carbide. That would go in the bottom part. In the top would be some water that they would fill. And then they would put that together, and then they would put a spark to the gas, and then the gas would start flaming. So it was a flammable gas that was produced. And that's what they would have on their hat to provide all the light down in the coal mine. Right here we have a coal miner's lunch bucket. There would be water in the bottom, sandwich in the middle, and pie on top. You can kind of see the separate compartments there. And they would take that down into the coal mine with them, so they could have their meals right down there. And also, if they needed some extra water for their carbide lamp, they had some extra water right here, because you don't want your lamp running out when you're in the total darkness.
This map shows some of the 10 St. Charles area coal mines. You can see the Robert Gage Number 8 coal mine in the upper left-hand corner. That is the Hartley Big Chief Number 8. Lumberjacks had lived in the St. Charles area up until about 1890 and had moved out to follow where the trees were being cut down up north. And a farmer was digging a well for some water and found coal. And it was a good thing he found coal. Otherwise, St. Charles would be a ghost town. This is a picture of the replica building called the Tipple. It is now the Coal Mine Museum. This is the Tipple, which was part of the Tipple building, which was the most important building in the coal mine operation, because right next to it is the actual shaft that the coal came up from 200 feet below the ground all the way up to the top of the Tipple. Again, the coal would get loaded up on the right-hand side all the way up to the top of where those two windows are, and then would get dumped, weighed, loaded, and separated, and then into the railroad cars on this end of the Tipple. Here you can see this is the inside of the Tipple. The upper left picture shows where the weighmaster and the union man would sit to make sure everybody's getting the right amount of pay for the weight that they dug. On the right hand top is the weigh pans, which the coal would get dumped in at the top of the Tipple. Then they would get shaken and separated and sorted down these shaking machines and the middle pictures, and then eventually loaded into the railroad cars at the end.
All right, hey, why don't we go on inside the coal mine and see what we can find? All right, come on into the main entry of the coal mine shaft. This guy right here is the mule driver. He's in charge of the mules. He had a dangerous job because often he would get kicked and bitten by the mules because they weren't very happy, because they were in the dark all the time and often they went blind. Right here we have half a ton of coal. A coal miner would get about 15 cents for this amount of coal. So instead they would load this up with 1.5 tons of coal before they sent it to the tipple. Come on into the coal room. The guy on the right, he's in charge of shoveling the coal into the coal car waiting outside the coal room. And you can see he's actually got his waterproof boots on because it would be kind of damp in here. It would smell like a little bit of number one, if you know what I'm talking about, because they had nowhere else to go to the bathroom. And so once he dug a certain amount of coal, they could have their lunch. Here's their lunch pail right here. There would be water in the middle, sandwich on water on the bottom, sandwich in the middle, and pie on top. And then this guy, he's in charge of drilling a 6-foot long hole into the coal. And after he's done that, it takes him all day. He would put a 7-foot long fuse with black powder dynamite in there and light the fuse and yell, "Fire in the hole!" And then they'd head on out.
This photo shows the Big Chief No. 8 coal mine buildings in operation. The tipple building is on the left-hand side, the coal washer and crusher is on the right, and a smokestack in the background. This is the hopper of the coal mine. Coal would be taken from the tipple over to the coal washer and crusher through this hopper. Of course, the coal washer and crusher would wash and crush the coal. They had to wash the coal in order to get rid of the element sulfur, which made the coal, when it burned, smell like rotten eggs. This is part of the wall of the power plant. The power plant provided all of the power for the coal mine operation, and of course the power plant ran on coal. This is the shale pile, which was the useless material that they had to dig out before they got to the coal. And this actually is the tallest point in Saginaw County if you were standing at the top. These are some of the 72 steps that it takes to get up to the top of the shale pile. It is a very tiring climb. Here's a view from the top of the shale pile, the tallest point in Saginaw County. That way's looking south and all the way to the west. I hope you enjoyed this coal mine presentation. This shows some of the plaques of the St. Charles area coal miners. You might be able to find some of your relatives' names here. Also, get out and try to find the last coal mine in Michigan, which was the Swan Creek Coal Mine, located at the end of Wall Road. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe and get outdoors when you can.